What now? Do we talk about when homosexuality first becomes prevalent in human beings, or?
I think we already talked about that. Actually, I think the next thing we have to talk about is God's attitude towards the towards homosexuals and homosexuality.
You shall not lie with a man like you do with a woman, for
Ah,
it is an abomination.
but if someone does not lie with a woman, then how can they lie with a man like they do with a woman?
And, according to the Bible, any kind of sex, besides vaginal sex, is sacrilege. It's horrible and an abomination against God. So, it is literally physically impossible, according to Bible terms, for a man to lie with a man like he does with a woman, because a man lacks the reproductive organs that a woman does.
Oh, it's funny because
They also failed to state anything about lesbians.
okay, but yeah, I mean, he apparently loves the sinner but hates homosexuality, which is always sinful, irrespective of the nature of the relationship, which I think it really does matter. And then if you take the more liberal viewpoint, I mean, he loves the person, and in various beliefs, they may approve of the activity if it's based on love and commitment, or it may approve it if it's safe and consensual.
I see. Now, where are you on the stand? Where's your stand on whether or not the forbidden fruit was actually sex?
Um, I don't know. I don't think it was sex because
Yeah.
there were plenty uh of different species in the garden, and hell, they got
Adam named them all.
yeah, holy shit. Except for the
Good
ones
job, Adam.
except for the ones that we discovered later.
Yeah, those ones he forgot about
Yeah,
or something.
he just forgot about them. Couldn't think of a interesting enough name. Like the
Yeah,
ant. Such an
like
interesting name.
blue whale. How exactly would you get a whale into the garden?
How could you miss it?
How would you get? It would have to be like dying.
I think we just stumbled upon something, Ruben.
Yes, God hates whales. Oh. Um. Anyways.
I think there's like one more question. Uh, we should probably consider. Is it changeable? I don't think that it's changeable. Sexual orientation is always, or almost always, fixed and cannot be changed. It's,
Well,
yes.
there was a man who got into a car accident and apparently hit his head pretty hard or something. He ended up suing the person who got him into an accident, not because he got into an accident, but because apparently the accident turned him gay.
Wow, that's very, very stupid.
Now, I'm sure that they didn't prove this, just like the people who banned homosexuality in Texas haven't been able to prove anything, and if they did, that would be disgusting. But, yeah, people apparently think that you can just suddenly become gay. So, if you can suddenly become gay, I guess you can suddenly not become gay. Actually, that is the worst reasoning I've ever heard in my entire life for myself or anyone else. No, it is impossible to become gay or to become straight if you are gay. In fact, it's probably true that most of the population is, at least to a small degree, bisexual.
Oh, yes, I heard that same thing from Grisha.
I'm sure.
Yes.
And I'm sure you've had many experiences related with it, too.
With Grisha.
Yeah, Grisha.
Yeah, shut up, Ruben.
Hey. Shut up, Grubfoot.
And, of course, religious people would think that, of course, through counseling and prayer, but it also requires effort because it's so fucking addictive. Damn it.
Well, you know, Christians, the goddamn phone.
It requires effort to lie to yourself.
Yes, the Christians and Jews, for that matter, disregard the phone. Can you hear that?
Yeah, I heard it.
Christians and Jews, for that matter, believe that Jesus was actually an exorcist, and these demons that he exorcised would cause things like homosexuality. Now, I'm not sure if it specifically states that he exorcised a homosexual, because I think that the Jesus of the Bible is too mellow of a dude to do something like that and wasn't a hater. I have very, very high respect for the character of Jesus, because, I mean, he's a righteous man. But we'll get to what is truly righteous and not, either later or some other time. Anyways, if these Christians believe in Jesus, which they have to do because they're Christians, then they believe that he is an exorcist, and therefore also believe in demons. So they have to believe that anytime someone is sick or different than them, that they are possessed by demons. And if you are a Christian, I'm sorry, but in order to be a true Christian, you have no choice but to believe that demons cause sickness and demons cause homosexuality. And that the only way to become not homosexual or to become better is to pray and to have an exorcist come and exorcise you. So hospitals are completely useless, and you guys should never go to them.
Ah, that reminds me a lot of that. Like that one case where that girl had diabetes and she was dying, and the woman prayed instead of getting a doctor.
Yeah, see, when I got diabetes, we went to the doctor right away. And it was serious, man. I was about to die. But no one ever prayed for me. We're not a praying family, really. Yeah, there's that, and there are tons of other cases that I'm sure that you could bring up over the years, and there's also things like New Age things, apothecaries, and actually, if you go into a New Age store, they have a lot of vitamins and stuff that you could use, and that Chinese medicine is actually just a really nice way of disguising the medicines and giving them a different way and claiming that they're spiritual.
Of course.
In my personal opinion, I don't think that homosexuality can be changed. And of course, you stated earlier that you don't either.
I don't either.
So, enough about all this gay talk. Let's move on to something else.
Yes, something else. So,
something a little less gay.
Like truth.
Truth. What is truth?
Should I look up the Wikipedia definition?
No. I have a much more reliable definition.
Alright, shoot.
Truth. Loading. Okay. To define truth at dictionary.com. much more respectable than Wikipedia. Wikipedia doesn't know anything. Now, plural truths. 1. The true or actual state of matter. 2. Conformity with fact or reality. And there are a bunch of other ones, but these are the two basic ones, the third being the verified or indisputable fact.
Ah. Well, I think there are 4 kinds of truths we could talk about. There's subjective truth, there's relative truth, there's objective truth, and there's absolute truth.
And what are all those again?
Okay.
Subjective?
The subjective is just, it's true to you. It's like for example, morality is subjective. It's like, if you think that murder is wrong, that is your subjective truth.
I see.
And I remember I said another one. Objective, it would be wrong. If we're talking about morality, it'd be wrong at all times. Or then we could have, for example, in the existence of a God, that it's true for, like, morality exists. There is some sort of, there are morals, just people have a different definition of it. There being morals would be objective truth, but what we consider right or wrong about those morals would be subjective.
Relative?
Yes, relative truth. It's the notion that knowledge can be seen as the relation between a form of representation with up to 2 sorts of intent, communication and use goals. I don't think it would be too deep into this discussion. Then there's, of course, my favorite, absolute truth. It would be the one that is, it's unconditional reality.
Unobjectable.
What?
Unobjectable.
Yes, unobjectable. And
so we have subjective, objective, relative, and absolute.
Yes, and absolute, a lot of people use that for God. I went on this one website once where it said, does absolute truth exist? And that depends on what? They asked me, does absolute truth exist? And I just said yes. Actually, no. If I said no, if I was talking about a God, they say, are you sure? Then I was going to say yes. And they're like, are you sure? Then it gives me the answers. It's absolutely true that absolute truth exists. And they just don't go away from that whole, is it absolutely true that absolute truth does not exist? So it was kind of like circular reasoning.
It's contradictory.
Yes.
Yes. Well, a certain quantum nihilist friend of ours would argue that there is no absolute truth because everything is in perception. But then again, saying that everything is in perception would also be an absolute, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would.
So there's no way to defeat the concept of absolute truth.
It does. Yes, there's no way to really defeat it, but if we're talking, it really does depend on what we're talking about.
Like, someone could say it is absolutely true that there is a God.
Without verifying or anything. which is what people usually do.
Well, it's impossible to verify because it's not true.
Exactly.
Funny how we just argued that it's not absolutely true because it's not true. Oh god, we sound like Star Trek nerds.
We really do.